What's up? What's up? What's up? Tonight we have a lot to go over, and you need to stay to the end because you might learn something. Tonight we're talking about a cheat sheet that's going to give you a ton of information on credit sweeps and how to dispute, and even Metro 2. Metro 2. Okay, so enough kidding around. We have a cheat sheet. We're going over how to follow up with the disputes and your round one, round two, round three, round four, round five letters. I don't care what round it is. I'm going to show you how to follow up and a couple of credit repair dispute hacks so that you can remove your collections, your charge offs, your repos, whatever it is that you have on there. I'm going to give you some secrets. So we're going to get started, but because we are live, I do have some things that I have to change on here, but it's going to only take me 2 seconds. And while I am changing those things, if you want to get a credit sweep done for you or see if I can help you, head over to my740.com, schedule a call with me. I will see if I can help. And you know what? This is probably going to take me a minute to change my settings here. Again, we are live. This is not recorded. So make sure that you subscribe if you haven't done so, because this is free for me to do for you. Bear with me for 2 seconds. We will get this done. We will get it going. And you, I promise you, are going to learn quite a bit. All right. Why are we doing this? Well, it's actually really, really simple. There's way too much false rhetoric out there, and everybody wants you to think that this is just some wham bam, thank you, ma'am, overnight process. I send one letter, I send two letters, and my negative items come off overnight. And it is not like that. If you are not disputing the right way, then you are not going to remove your negative items. And, hey, look, I've got 8 years right here on YouTube proving that that is not the way. That is not how you remove negative items. Can they be removed? Yes, my friend, they can be removed, but it's going to take you some time. It's going to take you doing it the right way. And then possibly you can remove your negative items. All right. And we are almost there. We are almost done. And just got to upload my thumbnail here and we will be good to go. All right. First thing that we are going to go over after I share my screen with you is actually going to be a cheat sheet, and you can access everything that I'm going to show you using the link that I have in the description right now, or the link that I'm going to put on the screen. And again, now we are ready. What we're going to be going over is a cheat sheet on disputing, because we are talking about credit dispute letter hacks. Okay. I don't really like that word, but hey, you know what? You got to do what you got to do to get you here, and understanding that there are secrets and there are formulas and there are specific ways that you can remove things from your credit report. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to stop rambling. We're going to get to it and let's get it going. All right. So first thing that we're going to go over is a cheat sheet. Okay. I'm not going to go over the whole Metro 2 thing, but I do have some FAQ down. And again, you can access this using the link on your screen right now. Round one, follow-up dispute tactic. And then what to do when the bureaus don't respond. And then when the credit bureaus verify as accurate. Okay, so let's go to the top and we're going to get started. Okay. Again, we're not going to go through this entire thing, but we are going to go over the main parts of it. The very, very important stuff is actually going to not be on this cheat sheet, but it's going to be on the other things when they don't respond, how to follow up, and other hacks and tips. All right. So what business are the credit bureaus in? They're in the data business. How many accounts should be disputed per letter? Well, dude, it's only a max of 10, okay? If you have 30 negative items you're disputing, you better chop those suckers up and send out 3 different letters, okay? We want to not only create a paper trail, right? And yesterday we were talking about creating a paper trail when we go to the CFPB. But when it comes to disputing, you want to become a pain in the ass, right? You want to be calling and faxing the creditors and, the bureaus, and sending like 5 letters per month and all that kind of stuff, not as a company, but as a consumer. I don't know how a credit repair business would actually be able to do that, but you, the consumer, fixing your own credit should be doing everything that you possibly can out of the squeaky wheel method. Okay. And that means you're hitting every single rung. All right. I promise you, it's going to increase your results. So, how many? I don't care. Stick all those suckers on there and dispute them. All right. How many dispute reasons per account? One. Unless you have the biggest guns, you are absolutely certain that whatever it is that you are disputing is going to come off by putting more than one reason on there or a reason in a violation, then honey, don't do anything other than sending out one, okay? Because you're going to just put all your eggs in one basket. And then once you've done use those cannons and gotten them off, right? Okay, so how long should I wait between dispute rounds? 30 days. Do I have to wait for a response from the bureaus before sending another letter? No. 9 times out of 10, they are going to ignore you. Again, they're in the data business and their job is to get rid of you because they make money off of your inaccurate subprime information. Okay. That is the business that they're in. So the more that you are knocking on that door, the more it's going to piss them off and they're finally going to open it. All right. But it's likely that they will not respond. Okay. And I'm going to show you what to do when they do not respond. So, what happens if the bureaus don't respond? So, you're going to pull a new report, check for updated info and deletions, and then write a new dispute letter using the new and relevant data for a dispute reason per each account. Now, do I have to send a certified mail with return receipt? No, unless you want to be paying $15 per each letter. Consumer fixing your own credit. If you are creating your paper trail to go to the CFPB, you do want some sort of tracking. Okay. Now, what's the difference between a factual dispute and a regular credit repair letter? Well, the answer to that is easy. Regular credit repair is what every other company out there, virtually all, because I do know other companies who use Metro 2 and Factual, right? But everybody else beyond us, right? They're sending out the same letters for everybody, the same templates, the same reasons, the same laws, the same everything. The only difference is that it's going to be your name and your account number on that letter versus Jane or Joe's. Besides that, everything is the same. It's a one size fits all shot in the dark assembly line type of deal. Now, with a factual dispute, it is for you and only you. It's literally a custom letter written right then using the facts taken directly off the credit report. Okay. Now, with Metro 2, now, this is a much coveted thing to understand Metro 2, right? And it's very difficult to explain to someone anything really about Metro 2. So this is very general information. So the Metro 2 file format is a particular type of file used by creditors to send data to the credit bureaus. And it's also the format through which data gets, I just found two typos, so sorry about that, added to the credit bureau databases. A Metro 2 file is a database file with fields to match virtually everything you can imagine related to credit and consumers, right? So it's literally the way that they are required to report something. It's a format, okay? So understanding the Metro 2 can actually assist you in removing your negative items because everything has to do with not just timeliness with the actual dispute process and not just facts, but also their compliance in reporting. And when you understand that, you can leverage that to get pretty quick results. Okay. Otherwise, I mean, we're talking Man, you have no idea. When you understand Metro 2, it is very expensive to go to a company that utilizes nothing other than Metro 2. Okay. What you want to understand is that the bureaus control and manage the Metro 2 format and related documentation and education materials through their self made trade organization, the CDIA, right? That means Consumer Data Industry Association. And you want to take special note that the bureaus control and manage the Metro 2 format and its related documentation. Okay. Now, we're actually going to skip this because I have a Metro 2 video coming out. But if you want to access this, like I said, use the link on your screen and you can access. System allows for partial data matches. Certain pieces of information, such as your social, your last name, etc., are given more weight than others. And additional data is always favored over accuracy. That is the most important thing out of this entire cheat sheet. Additional data, more information, is always favored over accuracy, more versus accurate. And remember that the bureaus are in the data business, and more data equals more money. That's really the only thing that you want to understand when it comes to understanding who the bureaus are. Okay. So we went over this part a little bit earlier this week. So we're going to skip the rest of this. If you want to access it, then again, use the link. But the bottom line, protecting the bottom line, you have to understand that the bureaus routinely break the rules. And since most people, especially those who don't know the rules, and this is why it's so important to understand it, give up after the first roadblock, which is why I'm showing you how to follow up on any dispute round, specifically though, round one. The credit bureaus do not get any benefit from correcting items on a credit report. That is so important. Like, I can't even stress how important that is. All right, round one, follow-up dispute tactic, okay? And this is actually a worksheet. So this isn't where, I'm just reading something to you. No, you can access this and you can go and, you can go and check this out and basically utilize this worksheet, right? Okay, so what can I do if round one was factual with inaccuracies and accounts came back as updated? For round two, do we state the same thing? Now, the answer to this is you are never stating the same thing. And if you do, what's going to happen is the bureaus are basically just going to get rid of you and say, hey, sayonara. I mean, you probably should have used a different reason. So one thing that you need to understand about disputing is that it is basically credit repair suicide to do number one, say, not mine. And number two, use the same dispute reason more than once. So for round one, always begin with the blatant inaccuracies. With the charge off, it's going to be date last active and date last paid. Lates for correction, meaning you want to correct your late payments. I was not late on date. Lates for deletion, meaning you want to use the late payments for deleting of the entire account. I was not late on date. Delete the account instead of correct. Collections, third party, this is unknown. And for collection debt buyer, you're going and checking for the lates in the payment history and the past due. Now, round two, for charge-offs, date last paid, or you can go to, the payment history, or if they're reporting charge-off. Lates for correction, you're asking for supporting documentation for investigation and the next late payment. You can dispute that next late payment. And then for deleting the account with late payments, first date of delinquency, go way back, okay? And then for third-party collections, collector did not validate or respond, and proof of ownership of the account. And for debt buyers, date last active. Round three. So charge-offs, notice a dispute, right? Because we're catching them in a violation, which is the number one key to the credit sweep process. Late for correction, copy of a bank statement proving that I was ever late, and they're never going to give it to you. Number one, because they don't have it, and number two, because technically this is number one. It's confidential information. Why would a data furnisher or a bank ever give up that information? They're not going to, okay? Now, in the discovery process in a lawsuit, yes, maybe, but not to you. Let's pause right there real quick. Just so you know, we will be posting videos and going live earlier because at this time of the year, as my analytics have shown me today, people that are looking for credit information on YouTube actually are looking for it about 6 hours earlier than they do in the summer. So instead of posting between, like 8 and 11, it's actually going to be between 3 and 7. Okay. So this is why it's so important to make sure that you are subscribed and subscribe for notifications so that you don't miss something like this. Okay. Now, late for correction. I just need to go back and fix one thing on my stream. So we're actually going to just pause here. I am going to go fix something and then we're going to bring this right back. But again, the reason that we're doing this is because you need to make sure that you know exactly how to dispute on the next round, right? If you don't know, then what you're doing is setting yourself up not for success, but unfortunately for, I don't want to use the word failure, but technically for failure. Okay. So I'm going to bring this back up on my screen, but we are going to do that now. And let's actually change the banner. Okay. So let's go back to this. All right. So late for deletion, notice a dispute. As you can see, round 3 is very important for the notice of dispute. For collections, third party, notice of dispute. And for collection debt buyer, notice of dispute. Okay, so for round 1, it's going to be factual. I'm using your reporting against you. Round 2 is factual and proof of investigation. Round 3 is factual and violation. And here are some things you don't want to do. Okay, so we have over 17 account elements that can be disputed right off the bat without ever looking at violations, right? We have monthly payment, dateless active, balance, dateless paid, past due, dateless reported, open date, status, terms, first day of delinquency, and high balance, etc. Right? So remember that when the Bureau says something is verified, it's simply an opportunity to write a new letter and prove them wrong. That's all you have to do. You have to remember that this is a game of inches and you got to play this game. If you want to remove these things from your credit report and you want to be successful and, get the lower interest rates and the houses and the high limit credit cards and all that kind of stuff, then this is literally a game of inches. Okay. It is like chess, and you need to know your strategy past disputing on round 1 and round 2 and round 3. And that's why we did that workshop on setting the follow up, because you can literally set up the process knowing that this is going to take time. You can set up the process so that the bureaus can only tell you one of 3 things instead of one of 10. And it allows you to really create a strategy that is going to, remove your negative items, and then that it's not going to take forever. Okay. So now what do you do if the bureaus just don't respond? You're sending in these letters and like what's going on? Are they responding? Are they not? If you don't know, then unfortunately, a lot of people get caught at this point. So, why didn't anyone respond? So, this is where you need to dissect and you need to check out the checklist of tactics that can be used as your first step. So, everything is in the report. And this is what I tell my clients. I don't care if they respond. This is not about what they do. It's about what we do, right? And everything that I need is right on the credit report. It tells me whether they investigated, whether they're in violation, whether, just a bunch of different things. If they change the information, if it says this, it's this, if it says that, it's that. So I don't care if a creditor doesn't say something, if a collector doesn't say something, if the bureaus don't say something. I don't need them to respond, right? And I would rather someone be pissed off that I'm doing everything that I can and that nothing is happening than to tell them, sorry, buddy, we're waiting for the bureaus to respond, which is why we didn't send out another round of disputes, right? So now if it was not, okay, so by the 30th day after they received your dispute, send a new dispute requesting deletion pursuant to section 623. If it was, did the date last reported change? If it did, it means that the bureaus performed an investigation. If it did not, request deletion for failure to investigate. Now, do you see any inaccuracies? You want to check every disputed account for inaccuracies: the DOLA, the DOLP, the DLR, the NOD, the AACD, the DO1D, the payment history, the monthly payment, etc. If you don't know what that means, it's the date last active, the date last paid, the date last reported, the notice to dispute, activity after the account was closed, the date of first delinquency, and then, of course, payment history, monthly payment, etc. You need to craft a new dispute letter, and you're going to use the highest impact dispute reason, and we're going to include the changed information and craft that new letter based on that new information. So we are not ever creating a letter based off of, information that we have already used. Again, that is credit repair suicide. Okay. So If nothing changed, do not reuse your dispute reason. It'll come back as frivolous. And instead, you need to use the next best reason based on how the account should be reported. And this actually gives you the ability to add your own on here. Which of these are you going to try? Why do you think it's best for your strategy for you? Okay. Now, this is where we get creative. So, why don't you think these responses are coming in? Okay. So, here's a couple of things as your second line of defense. So, ask for proof of investigation. If you are sending disputes certified but not receiving responses, demand that proof of investigation. If you did not send disputes certified originally, send this round certified and ask for proof of investigation. Send a dispute to the creditor or the collector and ask for a response and start making noise, just as I mentioned earlier. Ask for documentation, proving that they actually did something the way that they were supposed to. And if they had investigated, send a letter to the credit bureaus demanding deletion because you did not hear back from the data furnisher. And if they had investigated and they did report accurately, they'd have no problem responding. Now, that's called estoppel by silence, right? Because it's the same thing as when two people are in an argument and obviously one of them is going to be wrong, right? The person who's wrong is probably not really going to say anything because if they were right, they would have something to come back and say, right? It's estoppel by silence. Now, this is where you can start complaining. If they are still not responding, you have the CFPB against the bureaus, the creditors, and the collectors, and you're going to include, just as I mentioned yesterday, all of your proof, your whole paper trail, okay? Send a copy of it, include your letter, make other complaints, make a complaint, and make a complaint. So we have BBB, AG, FTC, and CFPB. Now, I will be doing an entire video or maybe even video series, probably just one video on when to do these complaints. And it's so important that we are going to chop it up. Like first we're talking about CFPB, then we're going to talk about the BBB, then the AG, and then the FTC. All right, and this is the last part. So the credit bureau verified as accurate. Now what? I mean, is that the end? Do we just give up and say, you know what? That's it. I'm taking my keyboard and I'm just going to leave. No. No, 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 no. That's not what we do. Again, we need to be those people standing at that door, pounding until they open, okay? And it's not, again, about what they do. It is about what we do. And what we do is we stay the course, we remain patient, persistent, consistent, and we get results, okay? So what could you have done differently? I mean, we're not right all the time, right? What could you have done differently? Now, a few reasons why it was verified. You used templates instead of writing your own letter. You didn't use the facts, right? FACTS, facts. And you committed credit repair suicide. You said it was not mine. You used identity theft. You disputed online. Any of those things, right? Or, you did what I was talking about earlier. I mean, you're using the same dispute reasons over and over and over again. You're sending in 609 letters. All of those things are the fastest way to get nothing. All right. Yeah, maybe you're going to fall through the cracks using a dispute letter template, but I can guarantee you there are faster ways to get permanent results because we are not looking for temporary deletions. Now, this is how you fight back and win. And this is actually going to be the last part of this. Okay. So each of these is a strategy that you can use against the CRAs when something comes back as verified. Try what is relevant and, you can kind of switch it up based off of your credit situation. Look for the notice of dispute because it's required to be there. Normally, it's found in the comment section pursuant to Section 623. This statement is required within 30 days of receipt of your first letter. Okay. If it is not present, it is a violation. All right. That is the key to the credit sweep process. Check for the date last reported to be updated. When the bureaus verify, they're required to update this date, and if it still reports the same as it did before, no investigation took place. Find the next best dispute reason based on the facts reported. Only dispute something that is truly inaccurate or inconsistent or in violation. If you were ignored, you may redispute without it coming back as frivolous as long as you are using the facts. A dispute can only be frivolous, a factual one, if the data furnisher performed their duties correctly under Section 623. You can challenge this. If they'd done an investigation, why didn't you receive a response? If they had done an investigation, why is this still reported inaccurately? If they had done an investigation, so on and so forth, right? There's always something that you can do instead of throwing your hands up in defeat. All right. And these are actionable tips that you can use right now, starting today, sending your letter out tomorrow to remove the negative items from your credit report. Again, if you want to access this, you can very simply use the link that you now again see on your screen. And, hey, if you don't want to do any of that and you are tired of having to watch a bunch of YouTube videos or take courses or whatever, then again, you can see if I can do a credit sweep for you at my740.com. But today, we went over the cheat sheet, the follow-up tactics, what to do when the bureaus do not respond, what to do when they come back and they say it is verified as accurate. My tip to you, my recommendation here is to understand that there is never an investigation. Never. Never. There's no investigation. There's no people. It's the whole thing is automated. It's literally comparing one database against the other. So once you understand this and you understand that you have to have an actual dispute strategy, that it's much more than just sending out these stupid letters that get no results, then hey, you'll be able to remove stuff. All right. So that is it for today, for tonight. Again, we will be changing the hours when we are going live and when we are doing our videos because we're in fall now. People went back to school and all that kind of stuff. So I will make a post in the community section, but again, instead of 8 to 11, we are now going to be doing about 3 to 7, somewhere in there. All right. That is it for today. If you want to access what we just went over, use the link on your screen and you'll be able to do that. All right. So I'll see you later. I hope you have a great one. And that's it. Toodaloo, my friend.